Hello, hello.
You know what? That music is so good. It's like proper hump day music.
Right? Just I need some like get up and dance kind of music, move around. The thing I love about these streams, I'm sitting down, working
Yeah,
most of the day, and this is my chance to stand up, talk to you, talk to everybody out there, and yeah, why not have some good music and dance a bit, right?
exactly. So, hello, everyone,
Hello,
and
hello.
welcome to 20 minutes Event Profs, actually weekly
Hmm.
marketing live. We're talking everything actually, not just marketing, but
Right?
all things Event Profs. And we do this every week, me and Jay. How long have we been doing this show now? Like over a year?
It could be over a year now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think
Over a
we're
year.
yeah, we
So
have
so
quite a
very
few.
exciting. If you're
Yep.
joining us, if you're watching us, say hello, drop what where you're joining us from, who you are, all of the wonderful stuff in the comments. And yeah, I'm gonna hand it over to Jason because he's gonna tell us what today's show is all about. It's a ton of
I
fun.
am. So we wanted to go with something a little bit lighter today, and that is acronyms. Because on Twitter, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, it is full of acronyms from the event industry. People love them, they use them all the time. And so we're just going to discuss them, see if they're a good thing, the pros, the cons, and then also see how good you guys are at acronyms. See if you can guess the ones. I've got a list that I just threw together. I'm sure there's a ton more. So if you have other acronyms that you love, throw them in the comments. But yeah, we're just going to discuss acronyms today. The industry seems to
Exactly.
be obsessed with them. So um, let's
I
let's
mean,
talk
and
about it.
test us. Like, if you're watching, like, test us. Drop an
Yeah.
acronym in the comments that you don't see
Mm,
or we haven't discussed and see if we know. I actually saw an acronym
true.
to do, I don't know if it's on your list, but I saw an acronym in a LinkedIn post today to do with data that you collect from events, like virtual events. And I was like, what does that mean? I still
Okay.
don't know. But if
You,
we have time, I'll add it at the end, and you can tell me if you know what that means or not. So yeah.
so that's let's start there. Okay, so let's start the conversation with how do we feel about acronyms? How do you feel about acronyms?
You know, I have a love-hate relationship with acronyms.
Uh huh.
I think, but I think it has to do also with our life cycle as event profs, right?
Okay.
Because, when you're coming into the industry, there are certain acronyms that they're just standard, like you need to know them. Like,
Hmm.
if you are managing events, if you are booking hotels, if you're booking events in hotels, there's certain acronyms that have been there since the dawn of time, and you know what they are because it's just industry jargon, right?
Hmm.
And it's stuff that if you'd studied it, you probably learned it in college or university, like event management, or
Hmm.
if you didn't study it, then you probably learned it on your journey in
Yeah.
the industry. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of, I would say, administrative
Hmm.
acronyms
Hmm.
that we know just because we're event profs.
Yeah.
um, and then there's the acronyms that people make up
Uh huh.
that really annoy me
Yeah.
because just say it. Like,
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
make it into an acronym. Like,
Hmm.
not everything needs to be an acronym, but I think this is a very generational thing as well.
Yeah.
um
I don't know. It's.
and there's a show I love called Modern Family,
Hmm.
which is over now, but I'm absolutely obsessed with them. But the one of the father in the show, Phil Dunphy, um, walked around the entire time trying to be cool and say WTF, right? And so his kids were like, "You can't say that. Like, what is WTF?" And then he was just like, "It means why the face."
What?
And I was like, "That's not what it means. That's not what it means."
No, no,
But this is what
no.
I mean. It's a
Yeah.
generational thing. We might think it means something
Yeah.
totally innocent, but it might not.
Yeah.
So, I just think with the new acronyms, we need to be careful there because we just don't want to turn everything into an acronym and just lose all sense of definitions.
Yeah. I agree. And the I think acronyms, I understand their purpose. It's to be as make communication more efficient. But
Yes.
oftentimes they make things very exclusive because it's really exhausting to be reading content or an article or something, and somebody throws in an acronym. They assume that everybody knows the acronym, and now I
Yeah.
have to stop what I'm doing, go to Google, and, and Google an acronym in the middle of my reading or consumption of the content. So I agree. I understand their purpose. I think in certain circles, maybe if it's internal,
Yeah.
and
I
that
think
it's
there's a
part of
time
the
and place
internal
for
language.
acronyms.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think there's
but
a time and place. And I
yeah,
also think that if they're used correctly,
mhm,
like, I think when you're going to use an acronym in any circumstance, the first time you drop it, it should have what the acronym actually means in brackets next to it,
definitely. Hmm.
so that every single time you drop it after that, people know what you're talking about when it
Yeah,
comes to acronyms, or at least
exactly.
have somewhere on a document or whatever what the acronyms that you're going to be dropping throughout the
Yeah,
content actually mean, so that it doesn't so that it's inclusive
yeah,
and it
exactly.
doesn't make people like
Turn off.
feel like they're complete idiots because
Yeah,
they don't know
yeah,
what these three letters or four
yeah,
letters actually means.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think it has a lot to do with the context. If you're around people, you know that they understand the acronyms. Use them. It's efficient. Use it in your emails and things. If you're broadcasting to an audience,
Hmm.
or you're giving a speech, which I've heard people use acronyms in their talks, which is like, okay, I get it because it's probably so ingrained in what you're doing that it just comes
Yeah,
out like that. But I think you have to understand that not everybody understands acronyms, and the
exactly.
acronyms change depending on the country, on the continent. And if you want to be communicating in a way that's more open and that
Hmm.
more people will understand what you're saying, then I would try to avoid acronyms where possible.
Possible.
I think, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and I think this is one difference we'll talk about too, unless your acronym is actually your brand, right? Because
Yeah,
then that's
that's
fine. So like,
different.
exactly, because then it's just they're words, and maybe that's a good starting point
Yeah,
to the to the test. Um, and I actually haven't had a chance to look this up, so I don't know if you have.
I haven't. I literally have a
All
window
right,
open for like if we need to do the Google test and Google it,
all right,
because I'm pretty
let's.
sure what you're gonna say right now, I'm not gonna know what it actually means. I'm gonna
Yeah,
probably think I know what it means, but I don't know.
but you don't know what
Oh,
it
Naomi's
means.
here. Hi, Naomi. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Naomi. Let's see if she can help us out with some of these acronyms. All right, so let's talk about. So I
Mhm.
made this little list. All right,
Yeah.
we'll check it out. Oh look, we've got a new setup here.
Okay.
I don't know. Let's start with the one up on the top right, which is one that we're both going to be attending in December.
Yes.
And it's a good example of the brand, right? So IBTM. I'm going to give this one to you. What
That's
does
so unfair. You
IBTM
actually
stand?
live in Barcelona, see? So like, okay.
I'm going
Okay.
to look it
I'm
up
gonna guess.
while
I
you're
actually
trying.
don't know. I only know. So this is tricky one, right? Because it used to be known as EIBTM.
That's
Do you
true.
remember?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. That's true.
Used to be known as
Hmm.
EIBTM because it was European something.
Hmm.
And then they got rid of the E, and that could have not been European. That could actually have not meant to be European at all. It could have been like exhibitions or something. I don't know. So
Yeah, yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
now it's IBTM
Uh huh.
World that takes
Right.
place in Barcelona, and it's taking place the end of November, on the 30th of November, I believe.
Hmm.
And so IBTM, I think, stands for, okay, oh God, International
Okay.
Business
Sounds good.
Tourism
Hmm.
Meetings. Or it's either travel or tourism.
You know what's
I
really
could be
funny is I can't
so
find it.
wrong. Let me see if you can.
I literally can't find the answer. Um,
Wait, let's see.
if anybody is listening, can somebody please help us out with IBTM? International Business Travel and Meetings? Is that what you said?
That's what I said.
Okay.
Um,
Um,
they should have it somewhere on their website, no?
got it. It should be like
It should be
yes,
like under
it
the
should
actual
be.
acronyms, right? Like you would
Um,
think.
yeah, maybe it's in the FAQs. Let me see if I can find it in the FAQs. What
Because
does
it doesn't
IBTM
say,
stand for?
it literally doesn't say it. This is
Mm-mm.
what's so brilliant about this situation, because we just kind of assume
Yeah,
that's what it means, right?
yeah.
Um, but I'm on the IBTM World website and I can't see it.
Naomi says, "I'm the worst person for this segment." I don't know, Naomi. We're not doing so well ourselves so far.
I know, but let me see. So okay, I'm in the FAQ. I'm in the FAQ,
Okay,
and
all
there's a
right.
ton of breakdowns of questions,
Mhm.
but none of the questions are like, what does
Ah,
IBTM
here, I got
actually
one from
mean?
Catalunya.com. Says IBTM is the acronym for the Global Meeting and Incentives Exhibition.
That's GMIE, right? That's not
Uh-huh.
IBTM.
Oh
That's
no.
GMIE.
Hold
So
on,
that
maybe
doesn't
it's
make,
in
because
Spanish.
correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't
Uh,
the acronym actually have to stand for the words? Isn't that the whole idea of having an acronym?
Theoretically, that's exactly the definition. So I think we should reach out to IBTM and
And
figure
ask
this
them,
out.
if you
Because
are
yeah,
from IBTM or you know anyone from IBTM, can you please in the comments tell us what IBTM stands for?
IBTM. Because yeah, this says IBTM is the acronym for the Global Meeting and Incentives Exhibition. Hmm.
I don't see an I anywhere,
I
guys.
didn't.
Like,
No, I didn't. We're missing some words.
unless it's incentives, bus
Incentivos.
business, travel, meetings. No, that doesn't make sense either.
Sounds good
So
to me
help
though.
us out.
I think it's
You
good.
know, Naomi's like, I
I
thought
take
it
it.
was the Institute of Business Travel Management.
Ah,
It is. It is. It is also the
as well.
acronym for the Institute of Business Travel Management. You're absolutely right, Naomi.
Yeah,
Um, and that's,
yeah,
but this is the thing, right? There can be
yeah.
so many, there can be the same acronym for different things, which
Yeah,
makes it more confusing.
which makes it more confusing. Exactly. Yeah. So I think, with acronyms, we have to be you have to be very conscious about what it is. And I understand IBTM is probably a brand, so they're worried more about the brand, not so much what the words mean. However, when you have
Yes.
words next or letters next to each other, people want to know. People are
People want
curious.
to know. Does it
So,
mean international business travel meetings?
mm,
Because I can't imagine what else the B stands
yeah,
for, to be
it
honest.
might be in Spanish, but I can't. Internacional
Business.
business. No. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the
All
next
right,
one.
let's move on.
All right. So now, should we try another one? Should we try the big one coming up in Los Angeles or Las Vegas? Sorry.
Las Vegas, yes.
Yeah. IMAX.
IMAX. What do you think
Um,
IMAX stands for?
IMAX. All right.
Yeah.
International
Mm-hmm.
meetings, exhibitions. Oh man, what does X stand for?
I think the X actually
And
is exhibitions.
xylophones.
No, oh, I know
Nailed
what it
it.
is.
I nailed
It's International Meetings and Exhibitions Expo. It's an expo.
Expo.
It is an
Yeah.
expo. Yeah,
All right. Let's see.
I
Let's
think
see.
it's an expo.
I think you
Now,
may have
let's
nailed
see
it
if
down.
they do a good job of explaining somewhere what IMAX is,
Right.
right? On their website. So I'm on their website right now. Does not say
Boy.
what it
IMAX
is.
International. It's got to be international, right? We agree on the international, right?
It's
And we
got to
agree
be
on the
international.
meetings, right?
Yeah,
Mm,
it's got to be international.
right.
I can't imagine it would be anything else. But hey, again, they're missing a trick, people. We need to know what the acronym means because
Curious minds want to know. I don't know if anybody else wants to know, but Sabrina and I we want to
we would
know.
like to know. So if you work for IBTM or anyone else knows the answer to this, please drop it in
Mm,
the comments. What does IMAX actually does stand for?
Yeah.
Does it stand for what we think it stands for, which is the International Meetings and Exhibitions Expo?
Expo. Nice.
I got my money on that.
Yeah. I
But,
think that's a good one.
I could be very wrong about this.
Okay.
It could also be incentives, meetings, exhibitions, expo,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Maybe
interesting.
it's
We don't
incentives, huh?
know. So
Yeah.
that's two
Yeah.
that we don't know,
We
and
don't
two
know.
that we can't Google because
Yeah.
even the homepages
There
for
are no
these
answers.
brands and shows do not break it down.
Google doesn't know. So anyway, so those are examples of brands that are using acronyms as their
Yeah,
brand, right? So I think
yeah,
our takeaway is they're great brands, they're solid brands, they're really well known, but they could use a little bit of clarification for people who want
yes,
to know what they mean. If you're going to
absolutely.
use acronyms, I think it's important to let people know what they actually stand for. Um, so now let's keep going.
Let's do that.
And I think we should have it better. These are more meetings related, right? This is more event related. So I think we should have some more luck with some of these other ones that I put on here. So let's
Absolutely.
start with the top right here. So this is the BEO. Um,
Yeah.
BEO.
So BEO, I know BEO because
All right.
we've probably seen BEOs in the trenches, I want to say. So
Yep.
BEO stands for Banquet Event Order,
Nice.
right?
Perfect.
Now,
Yeah.
this is probably something every event professional knows, but you'll know it even more if you've actually worked in a hotel,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
Um, and
Mega
so
important.
BEOs, I think that's what, yeah, Banquet Event Order. So yay,
Exactly.
smart
Nice.
one.
Well done. Next up, DDR. That one is also if you work in hotels or have ever sent out RFPs for your event to a hotel, you're going to know what a DDR is. That's a daily delegate rate. So that is essentially a one price per delegate, which covers usually a couple coffee breaks, a lunch, and the meeting space. So
That is
DDR
correct.
is also very important to know. Um, and I mean,
But
I
it,
think,
it also means something different in Germany
oh, really? Oh,
because before the wall came down, one
mhm.
side of the wall was the DDR. It
Oh,
was
true.
the Deutsche Democratic Republic.
Oh, wow.
So in Germany, it could be miscommunicated or misunderstood if you
Right.
don't come from that background.
Outside
Um,
the industry, yeah. Hmm.
I think it's not, I think now it's common terminology if you're in hospitality. But
Mm,
I think, if it's a word that you just drop in Germany, a lot of people will just think, oh, DDR. Like it's got a
yeah.
political kind of
Oh, yeah.
breakdown to it. So yeah, day delegate rate
Okay.
usually
Nice.
include two coffee breaks, lunch, and meeting space, right?
Meeting
Yeah.
space, yeah. 100%. And the DDR, that's a good example of having to be careful because I see these things put online all the time. People talk about their acronyms on LinkedIn, on social media posts, and we have to remember that those posts are open to the public. So if, it depends on what you want your audience to understand.
Yeah,
But I think acronyms can be not dangerous, but it can be a confusing way to communicate on socials. Um,
absolutely.
so ETA, I think everybody knows that one. Like usually my ETA is late, so
You're in Spain. So and my
I keep
ETA is either early or just in time.
I keep
Cultural
blaming it on
differences.
Spain. It's mostly me. And let's go to DMO.
Ooh, DMO
I think this is a destination marketing
organization.
organization. Let me check.
I've never heard of DMO.
DMO, DMO.
I
So
mean, that would make sense. Destination Marketing Organization. I've heard of DMC, right, which
exactly.
is
So we
on
have
the
the
list.
DMC down here. So
So
that
DMO,
so it,
okay,
I think so. It might be an American term. Maybe it's used more in America.
okay.
But
That makes, but it's good to know,
DMO,
right? If you're
I know what it is. I
international.
don't exactly know what a DMO does. I guess they would be marketing the destination. Yeah.
Yeah,
Focused on that. Kind of related to a CVB.
correct.
No?
So maybe that's the fundamental difference between the states and what they're called on this side of the pond.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess a
Like
CVB. Well, a
DMO might be
CVB is
more
a convention convention bureau.
convention bureau.
Yeah, convention and visitors
And
bureau
this is
or
the thing,
whatever.
like CVB actually does stand for Convention Bureau,
Mhm.
and but it's the one word that they've broken down into two
Mm,
initials and added
right.
the B. So that
Yeah.
confuses everyone because they're thinking, is it convention? No,
Yeah.
because like, how does that work?
Yeah.
Is it convention and venue bureau?
Hmm.
No. So
Yeah.
it has to, it is, but it does actually mean CVB actually does stand for Convention Bureau. And I see
Convention
that a
bureau.
lot with a lot of the CVBs,
Yeah.
especially on Instagram or on Twitter. That
Yeah.
is always directly part of their handle.
Okay.
So
Okay. To shorten the handle. Yeah. That makes
exactly.
sense. Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned DMC before, so DMC, Destination Management Company. So that's essentially an agency in the host country that's usually welcoming organizations and businesses to that country, helping them organize their trips and
Yep.
their events locally.
Hmm.
Um, ETA is on there twice, so that's fine. F&B, that
Bring it
is
to Jason about his
a
ETA.
reminder to myself, right? Come on,
ETD. I
I'm
think you probably meant ETD
ETD.
because
Yes, no,
ETD.
ETD is over here. Yep. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So that's yeah. So ETA, we can skip ETA. We move on
Yeah.
to F&B, which everyone you think should know what
I think
F&B
so,
is.
right? But I don't know. Maybe outside. Maybe this is one that is kind of a trick because I would use this is okay. I am just saying don't use acronyms on socials. I've probably used FMB because I think everybody knows it, but maybe that's wrong. Maybe people outside of the industry don't know FMB.
I don't think they I think if you are working in like in a role where you are around like like multinational corporations or
Mm,
you're in fast moving consumer
yeah.
goods, FMCG, you might know FMB, right?
Oh,
Um, but I think if you're outside of those worlds, like if you were in tech and IT, I don't think you would know
yeah. Not
FMB,
necessarily. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Exactly. Hmm.
But for everyone, it means food and beverage.
Yep.
So if you're watching this and you don't know what F&B stands for, that's what it stands for. So
That's the one.
if you ever see it being mentioned, um, it's probably to do, or you're probably in a hotel, or you're in a restaurant, or
Yep.
you are in some kind of a hospitality environs, because that's the
Exactly.
only place it would actually probably be mentioned.
Yep. Perfect. Moving on is FOS.
FOS.
Free. I think FOS means free of charge. I don't know why the S. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm not sure why the S is there. I think FOS means free of charge.
Your
Let me
charge?
check. FOS.
Because usually it's FOC, I think.
Yeah.
FOC usually means free of charge, per what I have
Okay.
heard. FOS, free of something.
Means free. FOS means free.
This means
Um.
free. Exactly.
All right. Moving on.
RFP. This is a very
RFP.
popular one.
Yep.
And
RFP.
yep,
Uh,
requests for proposal.
Good. Nice. That one
So,
is very, if you're getting into the industry, that's probably the first thing that you're going to do is learn how to do request for proposals from suppliers, reaching out to people or receiving requests for proposals. This is a key aspect of, I think, the events industry is the request for proposal. Everybody does request for proposals or
everyone.
receives them.
Or receives them. And it's
Yeah.
not just the events industry, it
Mm,
is also corporate.
yeah.
If you're doing corporate rates for a hotel, you will
Mhm,
hear RFP as well because
yeah.
hotels submit corporate rates every year
Yeah.
to their corporate and clients. So the word RFP will come up a lot.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And all right, moving on to the next one, we've got B2B.
B2B. Well, I guess now that I mean, if we're on LinkedIn, everyone should know what B2B is,
Hmm.
right? Which is Business to business.
Yeah, that
Yay.
one's straightforward. MC.
MC. So yeah, I mean, I guess that means like a moderator, right? Like a event
Yeah,
MC.
I think it literally means the master of ceremonies,
Master of ceremonies.
right?
That's right. There we go.
But yeah, exactly. It's the MC. It's the moderator, the person that's kind of leading the leading the conversation, or yeah, I think an
But I
MC is
also think
generally like a
culturally,
moderator.
that's called something different. So many different places. You've
Mm,
got MC, like just the two letters, right? The
mm-hmm.
initials, the
Yep.
acronym. Then you also can say MC, like they spell it out like
EMCE.
MEMCEE, which
Mm-hmm.
I never understand. Like, what is the point of that? Because if you're going to turn master of ceremonies into MC, like acronym,
Hmm.
then what is the point of the actual word MC? Because that doesn't mean, I mean, there's no M and there's no C
Yeah.
in master of ceremonies.
Yeah.
So putting those two words together make no sense whatsoever. That's just my rant
It's all
because,
right.
being a
That's what we're
moderator.
here for today. Here we're ranting about acronyms, so don't worry. All right. So I and D. Oh,
Oh, I and D.
I think
I
it
have
has
no
to
idea.
do with
D and I
bit like
could be like diversity and inclusion,
mm,
or given the climate now and everything we've been through, and
yeah,
Naomi's here as well, it could be innovation and disruption.
I like that. I think
I
we
like
should just stick with that.
Let's pick that. I and D stands for innovation and disruption.
Here we go. Installation and dismantle. Okay.
Oh my god, I had
Huh.
no idea.
Yeah. I mean,
That
I
makes
like
sense.
the innovation and disruption. I think from now on, when we hear when we hear an acronym, we should just give it our own definition.
Give it our own
Make it
definition.
make it fit what we want to believe. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly.
MMP. Ah, look, Naomi says inclusion and diversity. I like that too. Man,
Yeah,
but see,
just
this is the thing
switched.
with acronyms. If you're trying to be, trying to communicate something, it's a slippery slope with acronyms because
It is.
people may not pick up what you're putting down.
It's true.
um, all right, so MMP. Let's see.
MMP, it's something to do with meeting package.
Right? Yes, modified meeting package.
Modified meeting See,
Yes.
I would not know that
No,
normally,
no. If
right?
somebody sent that to me in an email, said, "Here's your MMP," I'd be like, "Ah, okay."
What is that? I get the meeting package, but then I'd struggle on the M. That
Hmm.
extra M, I'd be like,
Yeah,
what is it?
exactly.
But modified, yeah, that makes sense.
Makes
So
sense. Huh?
interesting. Now I know. Modified meeting package. Okay.
Mice. This one is a big one.
Do you know what? This one, I mean, I love the word mice. I think we all
Hmm.
love the word mice.
Yeah.
I confuse a lot of my family members when I say the word because
Me
they
too.
think they're actual mice.
Yep.
But what's really interesting is,
What do you do? I work with
I'm like, is
mice.
that a mice hotel? And they'll be like, what do you mean? Like a hotel for
For
mice?
mice. I thought you did events, Sabrina. When
I
did you
know.
get
It's
into
like,
mice?
are you in the animal industry? I don't know. Um, the rodent industry. No. So mice, I think mice means, and you know where it gets tricky? It gets tricky with the C and the E.
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
everyone knows what the M and the I is. So the M
Exactly.
is meetings, the I is incentives, right?
Incentives. Yep. Hmm.
But the C and the E is where I find a lot of people have different things of what they think it is. So
Mm.
C could be conferences, it could be
Yep.
conventions,
Yep.
it could be
Exactly.
corporate events, even,
Hmm. Yep.
right?
Yep.
Um, and then there's E, which either could be expo or it could be exhibitions.
Exhibitions or events. Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Yeah.
So I always go with meetings, incentives, uh, co- conferences, and events.
Hmm.
But then I feel like, well, if I have events, after all of that, aren't all of those things events?
Yeah.
So
So
technically, it
maybe
should be meetings, incentives, conventions, and exhibitions
right.
because
Hmm.
they're all different kinds of
Yeah.
events.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think this is another one where internally within the industry, I think it's fairly safe to use.
Yeah.
However, if you are promoting yourself outwardly, even to clients,
Mm.
like you may confuse clients by saying, "Yeah, I'm a mice manager."
Yeah.
Like they
I manage
okay.
rodents.
So I think again with this acronym, it's everywhere. Everybody
Yeah.
knows it. But I started using. We even had a web page called Mice HQ at the beginning,
Yeah.
and I've kind of backtracked on using mice just because of that because we're not marketing to the industry necessarily.
That's it.
But yeah, nice. All right, next CMP, certified
Meeting
meeting
professional.
professional, right? I
Yes.
see a lot of those on LinkedIn. If you see CMP behind somebody's name, that means that they are certified meetings professional. We talked about EDT, as estimated departure time.
That
So,
is
for
correct.
example, on this show, our estimated departure time is always 20 minutes.
That's right. And it never happens, but that's okay.
That's why it's an estimation.
And
Uh,
that could also be ETD.
right?
Right.
Estimated
So be flexible to that.
time
Time
of
of departure.
departure. Ah, true.
Departure
True.
time.
True. Yeah.
Estimated departure time. So
Big letters. ROI, ROE, return on investment, and return on.
experience.
Ooh.
This is a new
Ooh.
one. This is a
Okay.
new one.
All
This is
right.
one I've heard come up in, I want to say, the last 3 years. It's been sprinkled like confetti
Okay.
throughout
Here and
conversations.
there.
And
Yeah.
I'm always like, oh, what is
Hmm.
ROE?
Okay.
And it's like, because in some cases in
Yep.
our industry, it's hard to put ROI on something because it might be
Right.
something intangible, right?
Sure. Hmm.
And so they introduced ROE, which is
Okay.
return on experience.
Nice. Okay.
It will be
I've heard.
interesting to know what they actually think the criteria for return on experience is
Yeah.
that they need to hit. So,
We could dive into that. We could go down some of these rabbit holes. Maybe not today, but I'd be up for it. I've heard return on event as well. Return on event. So like, what's your return on the event? Which is
yeah,
kind of again, that's a hard one to tie down. But yeah, return on experience. That'd be a fun one to look more into.
absolutely.
Um, VAT, that is a fairly European one. If you're coming to Europe and you're going to have an event, you will most likely be paying VAT, which is the value added tax on top of the invoices that you have. That can depend on the country. In Spain, it's anywhere between 10% and 21%, I think. 10% on hotel rooms,
Yeah.
21% on food and beverage, F&B. But that it varies widely on depending on the country. I don't know what it is in Germany, but
I think
Spain is quite
it's
high.
flat in Germ. It's probably between, it's either 19 or 20%, I want
Okay,
to say.
oh, it's pretty high too. Okay,
I think it's pretty high as well.
all
Yeah.
right.
There we go.
AR is augmented reality.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's one for Naomi. Augmented
yep, that's
reality.
right.
Exactly. Um,
Um,
and, and on that vein, we also have VR,
yep,
which
true.
is virtual
Virtual
reality. And we
reality.
also now have IR, which is immersive reality.
Ah, so many realities. What do we? So
We are
many ways
in,
to access the
I want to
metaverse.
almost throw in, there's going to be MR.
Emma, metaverse reality.
Yeah.
Nice.
Meta
Could be.
reality. There's
Yeah,
going to be
meta
meta
reality.
reality. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
going to happen, right?
yeah,
Or if
yeah.
it's not happening already.
Could already be.
So
uh,
yeah,
let's then we have the AV, audio visual. So if you anytime you are looking to get tech inside of your room or inside of your event, you're usually going to be dealing with an AV supplier, so audio visual supplier.
that's right.
Um, the CRS,
Ooh, is that like a
customer
customer something system?
relationship. Let me see if I can find.
Because it must be similar to
Ah,
CRM. No?
oh, hold on. Naomi's got wow, she's got more R's here.
No.
MR and XRT. MR is mixed reality. Okay,
What's
mixed reality.
XRT?
And XRT.
Experience? No.
Uh, Naomi, you just killed us with another acronym.
What is XRT, Naomi? I have no idea what XRT is. Extreme
Experience
reality.
reality
XRT,
time.
T, RT, XRT. I don't know. I have
Yes.
no idea.
Yeah.
She's
Naomi, let us know in the comments what the XRT is, so we can add that to the list. CRS, Central Reservation System.
Oh my God, I haven't heard that for a really long time.
Right?
Like,
That's a hotel.
suppose if you don't work in hotels, that's a harder acronym, isn't it?
Totally. Yeah, exactly. And that's probably one that's very much for the internal, that's for your
Yeah.
internal reservations team at a hotel. Because clearly we have no idea outside. CR oftentimes is customer relationship something. So
Yeah.
customer relationship management or that. OHP.
OMG. Haven't used one of those in a while. Not even sure if the younger generation even know what an OHP is, right?
True. Yeah,
We
yeah,
grew
that's
up
true.
with it.
That's true.
It is quite a fossil of technology, but
Hmm.
I always loved it.
Yeah.
So an OHP is an overhead projector.
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yep.
yeah,
That is we I mean you still use projectors, right?
yes,
But I think the OHPs that we would remember are not the projectors that we see today.
no. I love that. It's almost like, they would roll it into the middle of the classroom and then they would put that sheet and
The
then they would go
plastic
like
sheet
that
and the
and then it
light
would
reflects it up off a
project it, and
mirror.
it was brilliant. It was
High tech.
brilliant,
Yeah, you could write on little pieces of
You,
plastic too. It's
that's
very
how you present
interactive.
it as well, like a now, and then you draw your like little arrow, like it goes from
Exactly.
A to B, and yeah, there was simpler times. It was simpler
Yeah,
times.
that was yeah, simpler times, happier times. Uh, then I think the last one here is the ROH, which
Yeah.
again is going to be a hotel term. ROH is run of house.
Which you
Um,
actually see come up quite a lot in contracts with hotels. So
totally.
you should
Yeah.
know that if you're an event professional, run of house, usually you will see it if you have larger groups or you have a hotel that has so many different room categories that they
Yeah.
can't give the group all the same room category.
Yeah.
So they give you run of house, which means it is at their
Disclosure,
disclosure, which
discretion.
rooms, which discretion. It's at their discretion, disclosure. It's at their discretion. It's like the blind leading the blind today. It's at their discretion what room which attendee gets. You can't pick and choose. So yeah, so that's usually what run of house is, and it's usually standard rooms. Or it could be a mix at times. But yeah,
Yeah.
so that was fun. Acronyms.
Yeah.
We did a lot
So
of
what's
acronyms
what's our
today.
conclusion here? Should we make a grand conclusion on this? I don't know. They make
I think
sense for what? For being efficient internally, for making communications efficient.
yeah, I think if it's like systems or processes related, I think acronyms is probably good.
Hmm.
Um, but I think if you are trying to, and I guess also in the space of explaining concepts and theories, they could
Hmm.
work.
Hmm.
Because a lot of times the words for explaining something are so big, all put
Yeah.
together. But I think we should not just, you know, uh, cut down and be lazy with everyday
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
assume that everybody understands what they are, right?
yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, I
And
can't even. I mean, this is all industry related, the acronyms we discussed, but there's a whole other world of acronyms that the younger generation are using just in their
mhm,
day to day
right.
speak that I just would have no clue about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and then when I
Yeah.
actually find out what one means, I feel really proud of myself because I feel like, oh, wow, like I know what that means.
Like
I'm down with the kids,
that's right. What the
Um,
face?
what the face? Why the face?
Why the face? Even better.
um, yeah. So I think that's interesting. And if you're going to be using acronyms in your captions, please check
Hmm.
that you know what they mean,
Yeah.
um, and that you're not using them inappropriately because that could really blow up in your face when it
Yeah.
comes to
Totally.
your corporate verbiage and
Hmm.
content.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. 100%. I think when possible, try to avoid acronyms unless you're trying to be like really quick and efficient with your internal kind of team.
Yeah.
Um, But yeah, and I've seen the use of acronyms come across sometimes with people actually trying to create like an exclude make themselves seem more exclusive and more kind of like
Cool,
cool by throwing
trendy.
an acronym. Yeah, exactly. I don't know
Yeah.
if that works on people. It doesn't really work on me. I see people
No.
using a ton of acronyms. I'm just like, hey, like slow down here.
Bye.
There's people in the room. Exactly. Yeah, people in the room don't get it. So more
I'll just
important
be like
is
BRB and then never be. That's what I'll do if you try
I
that
like
with me.
it. B BRB, but not B.
Actually, be BNB. Be never back.
I like it. If I
Just
ever
gonna
hear you say BNB,
create my own.
I know we got a problem. So on that note,
We will BRB
we'll
next week.
BRB next week. Hope you guys enjoyed that. This was just kind of thrown together. So if you have any other acronyms you want to add to the comments, throw them in there. If you have feedback, anybody knows what IBTM and IMEX stand for, please let us know because that still remains a mystery. And we'll be back next week to do this all again.
And soon we're going to be doing it at IBTM too, even though we don't know what
True.
the show means. But
Yes.
we're putting together a little plan of presents. I like to put that. A little plan of presents. The two of us are going to be at the show. And so if you're a supplier, if you have a booth, if you're going to be there and you want to work with us and I don't know, do a little bit of on-site social media activity, go live, all of that good stuff. Reach out, let us know. But we are going to post something very soon on what that's going to look like and cost, and move forward with it. So
Definitely, yeah. We want to start doing do some cool live streams on site and involve you guys in these. So if you want to get your brand out there, you want to show off your booth a little bit, we might pop by, have like some mobile streaming going on. So reach out and let us know if you're interested.
cool. All right, everyone.
Cool.
Have a wonderful Wednesday, and we will see you next week.
See you later. Bye.